Welcome back to Soul Spark Tarot. I'm your host, Mr. Renew. Let's get some cleansing in your life, get some cleansing in your mind. So, I'm gonna do a little bit of a yap, jump into this daily message, see how the energies are changing around you so you can choose to enact your free will. And with that being said, we'll look at how we can make the best of that free will choice, and we can do what we do. So with that being said, I'm going to shuffle up the cards. We're going to listen to some noisy in the background, some noisy beats, 1 hour of chill freestyle beats, 2024, Isaiah Rashad, Meek Jenkins, Kendrick Lamar. I think we might have a few songs that pop up that I might end up rapping on just because, man, I feel like I made some good little songs and yeah. Oh, so I got a whole lot of epiphanies I want to talk about, man, because I've been doing a lot of things and I always like to come back on here and, spill the beans. Why? Because it's like my mission. I have a perspective that I've noticed a lot of people just don't understand. I see people, man. It's strange. I'm 35 years old, and I see the world. I don't care how old you are. I see you as a child, and it's weird because I don't see too many people like thinking the same way as me. But I've talked to a lot online. I've had interactions with people who, portray similar thought patterns and points of views as myself simply because of how they choose to communicate. I understand that everyone doesn't communicate the same way, and that is what I'm doing. That's what makes me feel like the adult in the room. And I'm not always putting myself in that position, but people place me in that role of like leader, teacher, the solution. What do you have? I don't know. People turn to me as if I got the answers, and I do. But I don't always want to give the answers because not everybody deserves to have the answers from me. And because I stopped being selfish, I decided that, I would become a teacher and I would teach all grades. I would try to learn. And then I got my psychology degree. But before that, I wanted to learn how to communicate with the adults around. So I got a business degree. And then I just kept realizing that the language was the problem for the world. And then it makes me think about things like Babel, things of like storytelling of old, makes me think about astrology, makes me think about personality tests and psychologies, makes me think about just like interests. Why are there different interests? How come people are interested and talented in different things? And it's showing me that these are affinities. But these affinities are differences between people, but the differences between people can all be found within the single person. So, where does that lead us? Well, that leads us into a place of what we call similarity. But this similarity happens in the opposite manner of what we do when we're creating life with similarities. You take this Lego block, and you put them together because they're both Lego blocks. That is how people see the world. It's very 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2, but both of those numbers, they don't even understand what they're saying. Really, they're thinking of like 4 plus 4 because obviously it's easier to see, a fourth. Why? Because that's a quarter. That's like a quarter. That's a part of something else, and we know it's part of something that's larger, and we know that it's smaller. So it's important to see how people can like conceptualize at a certain level. Well, I don't think a lot of people realize that they have a multitude of levels. And then that means they have a multitude of perspectives. That means they have a multitude of understandings, and they can go back and they can level those understandings up without altering or independent of anything else. So you can do things and it seems like your entire world is crashing, burning, fucked up. But then if you know that you consciously went here to do something, to get something out of this experience, and then when you leave, you go back to a more normalized state, and then you can view that external or that experience externally, and then you can see it as something just happening. And this happening is you creating a new value system or change. So we're looking at what is around us that we can start to apply and attribute new values to, even if it appears destructive to somebody in the right now. It might be destructive to them, but what about you? What if, let's take a notion, what if you need to destroy some shit? Ha! What if you need to demolish before you rebuild? What if you need to partially demolish so you can, upgrade your house? There is a controlled demolition aspect to chaos when destroying things. This is you cooking food. You got to keep the faith in the, in the life that God got cooking for you. That's kind of what I feel like. Exactly, support. So let me stop yapping as much, because some people are visual learners, so you need to see the cards. But I'm telling you, the changes that we have around us, or these opportunities that we have for change, they're here being presented to us because we have an ability to see the differences between the cycles that we once lived. By you going backwards and experiencing things of the past while being different, or what we call having had aged, this will allow you to go back and gain a new point of view. The point of view has been established though. I gotta show you. The point of view has already been established. Oh, I'll use the cards to show you. Okay. When I say the point of view has already been established, what I'm saying is there has already been a pathway, meaning you're not there anymore. So even if you are going back to your old house, you haven't been back in 15 years. So whatever you did in those 15 years, that is what's going to provide you the new point of view. So you go to your childhood house and you have terrible experiences, and then you live your life and you start to heal and you be empathetic, and then you be strong and all of those things. Then sometimes you just don't even give a fuck no more. When you go back, you might have emotions and things come back up. Again, be reborn, you're back. So guess what? A part of you remembers that.
I look for strange, colorful, fun objects that I think would be cool in a photo.
But once you realize that you left, and then you can start saying things like, damn, I remember this, but Johnny Q over here had this. And then I remember this, but I overcame that when I went to college, and I had to sleep in the dorm. So my little ass room that I was complaining about, that shit was huge compared to sharing in the same size room, but with a whole nother person. So like, you have life, and it will help you go back and give yourself some grace. It'll let you say, man, it was hard then, so I was hard on myself, but now I'm back and it's easy to be here. So guess what? I should be easier on this situation. So yeah, it was shitty then, but I don't really feel that way. And guess what? That's the physical side. It's a lot harder to do mentally. Why? Because it's still playing mentally. Mentally, it's always constantly in a change flux, but it never removes itself. So it's always being recycled, which means that there's always going to be something to remind you of that trauma. The thing is, are you strong now, or are you still weak against the trauma? Do you have power over it? Are you even aware of it? What do you know? What's the difference? Let's take away some things and find a new quotient. So, again, I keep saying, let's get the cards. Let me get a little prayer in real quick. shade. Feeling so good, feeling like I could, feeling like I would. Man, I'm not doing what I said. All of these things. All right, religion and spirituality, that shit came out just for you. Look, all of these things is here so you can understand this game called life is called spiritual living. So like, if we had to understand life, and life was a video game, the video game that you are living is called life. If you've ever played the board game called life, that is a board game of the life we have constructed as society. But this life is based upon religion and spirituality. So these are like the rules and the instructions behind the game of life that we built based upon society. There's another game called Monopoly, which is a even smaller facet of society dealing with how the mind works to teach a lesson. And there's tons of other games, like if you get out of board games and jump into things like cardiology, which is what tarot is built upon, and then realize that those things are just built upon numbers, and numbers are the foundational aspect to the universe, and how you view those numbers determine how you value realities. These dimensions of realities or number sets, these number sets come in packages of understanding. Understanding is what religion is, spirituality is what we do. The actions over time is what has been conglomerated into what we call wisdom and knowledge. But as a child grows and develops, there becomes a limitation to that knowledge for the boundary of the child. A 7-year-old does not know what it means to be a 16-year-old, no matter if they have the knowledge base to be in the same school. 7, 16, 9 years difference. But this is the TV show, we can call it Smart Guy. I know he was a little bit older than 7, but the idea is smarty pants. Intellectually, yes, you are there, but he's lacking emotionally because he doesn't have the practice. So even if this person has the intellect of a 16-year-old, the emotional intelligence is lacking just because of literally the experience. So until that child becomes 16, it won't know what it means to be 16, let alone 13, let alone 10. So there are levels of development that we can anticipate, but the anticipation or the knowledge that we're going to grow up, it has to come with variety. The spirituality of the world is the variety of you internally. But it's me and it's everything else, and it's all things not you as well, which makes us all the same. The religious aspect starts to stake claim and difference, first being dead and alive, here and gone, physical, non-physical, spiritual and life. That's the first religious belief that is of difference. There is one God and it's nothingness. But in that same idea, it created all things. It's paradoxical only because we are in a religious-based system and we have to use what English class calls a conjunction so I can put some things together and say spirituality too. There's two clear different things always happening, and it's not the two that you understand. It's not left and right like I always teach. I use that because a lot of people like to see. It's not spirituality and religion. It's not up and down. It's not inside and outside. Those are things that we use as a foundational aspect. Us as a person seeking to utilize the change that we see around us, we have to see that these changes have been smashed together through layers. Think of life as an Oreo cookie. That is how you need to live life, because the cookie is itself. But when you create experiences or new cookies that can come together, you got to understand that when you stack those things on top of each other, People can alter the layers in between. Now you got double stuffed Oreos. Now you got flavored creamed Oreos. Now you got peppermint holiday only Oreos. You have to start to see that this is the variety of life that we can live, but that variety comes from the spirituality that you deem as a religion called you. The life that you live, the changes that you make across the changes everyone else is making. It's the same change, but because you create new values upon that change, meaning I'm dividing by 2, somebody else is dividing by 6, guess what? We're going to have new religious takes or new routines upon how to sustain and stay connected to that spiritual energy, or that vision, or that internal layer, matched with the pattern of the external layer. Counting by 2, counting by 2, counting by 2. Counting by 6, counting by 6, counting by 6. I'm feeling like I need to go in. Forgiveness at the bottom. Foundation, no, we going in. Because forgiveness is the religion. So I can see myself changing in any instance. Yeah, any which way that I walk. In any which way that I talk. I'm just living this life that I walk. So I'm doing me, so I'm religious. Oh, I fucked it up, damn. Religiously speaking, you doing you is the spiritual moves of forgiveness for you. So this, okay, so ha 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 makes so much sense. Currently, the world is going through stagnation. Why? Because you want to grow, but you refuse to grow internally. You think you're doing what you need to do, but sorry, those things that got you out of your dark space are just things that you do in the light space. Take your ass back inside and go in the dark and bring out some new things. This is where you grow. It's internal. You need to create some new religions of some new spirituality based upon your understanding. Don't be afraid, because guess what? You've already been reborn. The external you has already is here. No matter if you feel the internal side of you still. Again, I don't ever take oracle cards in reverse. This is just me delivering the message as it came out. I'm not going to take this as reverse. What I'm doing is I'm just looking at this. It's like if I had to go and teach a kid and they're looking at their paper upright, I'm going to write the letter backwards, or the number backwards. So if it's 3 plus 3, I'm going to write backwards so the kids can see it forward. This is how DNA is encoded and unzipped, but more importantly, this is how RNA is copied. The reason why that's important is because at the foundation or aspect of you, there's a mirror. So even when this card is coming in reverse, there's no difference from the pattern layered on the inside of you than there is on the pattern layered externally. So because of that, what you need to do is you need to realize you can go in and change your pattern internally. What that means is change how you feel about it. It's the spirituality of change. And do you feel good making this change or not? Does this change make you feel good? But you got to start to realize which version of you is doing the feeling. Externally, you should have reduced down all the distractions of life to have allowed you to climb your way out of the dark hole that you are now walking free from. But that walk has a talk. And in that talk, that is your spiritual hymns or the religious statements of you. But you must now believe that you will go to church, but you have to see how to update you. Believe that your change is the change that God has instilled in you. He's cooking you. So it's not about dropping your religion, it's about getting deeper into what you know. By allowing yourself to see what you got. And you got the society. But the society has life in there. And because you're playing a game called life, you can decide the rules of your living. Exactly. Your hobbies. Go play virtual life. Go play Sims if you want to play life. Now you actually got to move around and be on the day-to-day scale instead of the dice roll to dice roll scale. Hobbies. Finding some new outlets. I like the things that I'm doing right now in my life, but I like that I'd have these pauses in between because I feel like the messages come stronger. Because I'll be still talking, but the micro versions are only helping the macro aspects of myself. Which means when I practice talking, when I'm actually not practicing anything, there's no decisions made, but the decision has already been made. This is what we call in language. If I have a sentence, I gotta bring this shit out. Didn't want to do it, but I'm doing it. If I have a sentence, the dog is brown. Okay, this is a simple sentence, right? This is just a statement for most people. So the first thing is just a statement. Kids, before they get to school, they can be at the house and they can hear people say, a brown chihuahua, dog, perro, and any other word you can use for this canine. Kids can hear it. But then they go to school and they still hear these words, but then we start telling them, oh, let's break it down some. These are what we call letters. Then we have to introduce sounds. And then we have to introduce blending. And then we have to produce cadence or rest or pauses. All of those things are happening even before we get to the fourth thing, which is a word plus space. A word plus space equals a sentence. But then, again, notice we're going further and deeper. Then I can start saying, well, we can identify the parts of this speech or this statement. And we can say this is a noun. And we can say this is a verb. And then we can say this is an adjective. And then we can say this is an article. And all of those things have meaning. And then they have their own interconnection. And then they have a higher connection. Subject. And then I have a tense. Present. So there's so much, but it started off as a simple statement, the dog is brown, and I didn't know anything but the shit that my people was showing me, but now I go to school and I go through years of learning about how this dog is fucking brown, but it starts to mean so much more. The sentence never changed, people, but you made this decision to go back and learn again. This is you going back within. Going back within is the decision. So just go in there and have fun. It doesn't matter what happens when you go back to that old house, that childhood house after 15 years. When you go there, nigga, you made the choice. So be okay with that. Support yourself. Support the fact that you did it. Support the fact that you wanted to. Support the fact that you are there. And be here now. What can we do with this? Once we go inside, what can we do with this information? So what this is showing you is how you can explore new places, and then you can always be confident in the fact that you would always be yourself. So if you're a kind-hearted person, you're going to be a kind-hearted person no matter where you at or the type of people you're around. If you're around evil, dark people, guess what? They're going to see you as that same way, and guess what? They're probably going to try to repeat the same tactics that other people of the past have done to you, so you can realize that you can be kind, but you can keep the faith that I dug myself out of a hole of kindness where people would take advantage of me. I'm walking in the light with clear-cut boundaries. I'm keeping the faith that I'm a kind person, but I'm also keeping the faith that I will protect this kindness and never go back into a hole that made me feel like I was unkind or I should not be kind, for look at the consequences of my kindness. No, I shall not be deterred from this pathway that I'm walking. I will keep the faith that I'm going to keep talking and I'm going to keep protecting that talk. And I do this with my walk. So if you want to repeat the same tactics of old, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to say, you sure you want to do that? You sure you want to make that choice? Are you positive you are okay with the consequences? Because I'm telling you now. And if you don't believe I know, you should take a second think with yourself. Protective mode. Keep the faith that you actually will defend your religion, which is the you living life, walking free in the light. That version, you gotta keep the faith that you will keep that life alive. I see me, but I see the irrational side of myself too, which is the change of who I used to be, somebody who will let you get over on me versus me now. I'm standing up. Standing the fuck up. You got the courage. But you already had the courage. You have to have the faith that you have the courage. And you have to have the courage to keep the faith in your faith of you being courageous. Courageous of what? Courageous of you. Courageous of you to continue to be who you are. I'm talking to you right now. Man, I love you so much. And I just really hope you understand that with faith, all things are beautiful. With courage, all things can be created. But you must believe that you have created the faith that you see.
Every day, our world gets a little more connected, but a little further apart.
Because the world gets connected and a little bit more further apart, you gotta have faith that this needing or this pulling apart to make better, to make softer, to make you more malleable, more useful, it requires this change. And I can change things with love, I can change things with time, but I'm gonna change it. And so you got to keep the faith that the changes that you're making, God has already set these things into motion. You got to have faith in the rules that has been established as the life you've created yourself to live by. Now you can see yourself living this life. And even if time feels like it's passing you by, another part of you feels like it is rushing away. But a different part can feel that it is too slow. And then another part can say it's just right. You take a step back and have faith that all of those things are true. And when all of those things are true, you can have the courage to speak up and say, who's the truest right now? Which one will help everybody the most in this moment? Presently speaking, who is mindful enough to address everybody? Who can steer this ship? Who needs to be the captain? Which boundary exists? Have the courage to have the faith that you're creating boundaries that are healthy for you. And the healthier you become is the healthier you see yourself becoming. So the more times you are challenged, my love, believe that you are creating a school for you to keep faith in. You're literally creating a school of religions for you to follow as your own religion. And you're already so loving, baby. You're beautiful. But people can't see how beautiful you are because you're afraid of the darkness that you know you have. But I believe that darkness is beautiful because you live there and you can and you choose not to. And so you suffer in the light and people don't even realize it. But I love it and I love it. I value it so much. I value the fact that you sacrifice the fact that the sun hurts you, but you stand in it anyway. You're a vampire, but you love these humans so much that you do everything that you can to stand the light, just so you can show others that they can shine bright. Nobody else is doing that shit. Nobody else has that type of courage, my love. So keep the faith in your love. Keep the faith in your intuition. Keep making love to you. Because I love watching you make love to life. And I love watching you make love to the life that you're living. So have courage to keep going on. Have the spark to keep going strong. Have the faith that you can love all of you and above. All right, people. What's our final message? What's our final message? I thought a whole stack filled out, but only two. Our final message is a little bit tricky. I think it's a lot, but it's going to be summed down to something simple. What is our simple final message? You're gracefully aging in finances. You're valuing aging. That's it. And you're putting more wealth on that age. And because you've aged and because you have new wealth values, you are more graceful in the life that you're living. So you dance with your darkness now, and that looks beautiful. And guess what? You don't see it as darkness now. You see it as the contrast to the beautiful pastels that you're painting with. Damn. Beautiful pastels contrasting with these darks and these lights. I got this life and it's coming real colorful. Which way do I go? I don't know, but I'm painting, doing these things. I'll be hoping, praying, doing these things to keep myself saying things to keep me all supported, keep myself feeling what supported, but nope, you feeling kinda supported too, cause I'm doing what I can to show me that I love who. All of eyes up on this beat, any which way that I seem to see, but nope, this vision that I have in me is just you loving you as I love me. Hey, doing what I can with the say, doing what I know and what I bring today, and any which way that I can see me, bringing LOVE up on this unison, universal tip, I'm included, universal tip, you're included, universal tip, we included, any which way that we be bringing up universal wisdom on this beat, okay, but nope, it's we living life, so I'm singing, oh yay, singing this life so you can see me living, so you can see your life living as you living life living. Changing lives that you living. Revaluing life as you living. Re-evaluating life that you living energetically, physically on the scene, feeling good as you make the new sceneries. So yeah, get older, man. It's okay. You get better with time if you value the time that has gotten you to where you are.
Here's how to never have to worry about money after a car accident.
Yeah, that was crazy, but yeah. Feel good about yourself as you develop, because everything gets better with time, man, if you value that time put in. So keep putting in the time, people. It'll bring you wealth. It'll bring you a mindset that is wealthy, which will bring you new finances. And a lot of that comes through the idea of, wow, I got wisdom now. I can age a bit more gracefully. I can do more things in my life, and I can be blessed in more ways than I could have ever imagined. So, stay blessed, people. The change that you have around you is allowing you to keep your faith and keep your courage that you made decisions that you created from looking within, and you can have the faith that externally you'll continue with that. You realize that God is cooking up a great meal, and just can't wait to eat from the life that you're living. So I love y'all. Mr. Renew, you're never alone, man. You always got you. So I'm going to help you keep yourself. Peace.